I think it's time I gave y'all my top 10 favorite movies of all time. What's up guys, my name is Ryan, welcome to my channel if you are new here. So today I wanted to talk about my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I've had this channel for about 4 months now, I think, so I think it's about time I give y'all an insight into my taste in movies and the types of movies that I naturally gravitate towards and that I love. Before we begin, I want to just say that remember, this is my opinion. I'm not saying these are the objective 10 greatest movies of all time. These are my personal favorite movies of all time. This is completely subjective. These are the movies that mean the most to me, that I have the most fun time watching. These are the movies that if I could only watch 10 movies for the rest of my life, or if I was on a deserted island, I could only take 10 movies with me. These are the 10 that I'm taking. A lot of the films on this list, I think a lot of people will be like, really? That's one of your favorite movies of all time? Yes, and I don't care what anyone says. So I hope y'all enjoy this video, and one more thing before I start, I have a couple honorable mentions. One is How to Train Your Dragon, just probably the best boy and his dog story ever. It's so fun and heartfelt and emotional seeing Hiccup and Toothless meet for the first time and developing that relationship, and it has probably the best score I've ever heard in a movie. And then second is Robin Hood, the Disney classic. I grew up on this film, it's very nostalgic for me. I actually enjoy a lot of the songs in the film. I just like how it's a simple little story about just this really good guy trying to help out this town, these people that are under an oppressive, selfish ruler. Love Robin Hood so much, but now let's get into my top 10. And starting things off at number 10 is Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. I am a big Scooby-Doo fan. Ask pretty much anybody who knew me in elementary school, they will tell you that I had the most humongous Scooby-Doo phase that I never really quite grew out of because I still love Scooby-Doo so very much. I grew up on almost every single Scooby-Doo cartoon and all the direct-to-video and TV films, and I know a lot of people say that Zombie Island is the best, and that definitely is a really good one, but for me, Cyber Chase has always been my favorite because I feel like it's just such a love letter to Scooby-Doo. It's just, I think, a lot of fun. If you don't know the concept here, the gang gets sucked into this video game that's a friend of theirs made based off their adventures, and each level takes place at this different exotic location where the gang has solved many mysteries before in previous Scooby-Doo media, and they have to chase down this phantom virus through all the levels and make it through the final level to get out, and they're just trying to find out who created this virus while in the game. And I love at the last level when they bring back some monsters from previous Scooby-Doo media that the gang has faced and unmasked before. Being such a massive Scooby-Doo fan, it just would not feel right if I did not have a Scooby-Doo film on this list. If I could only watch 10 movies for the rest of my life, I would need at least one of those to be a Scooby-Doo film, and I'm choosing Cyber Chase. Number 9 for me is Avengers Endgame, and I'm also gonna say Avengers Infinity War. I don't know if that's cheating, but these two films, I just can't separate them. They go together for me. You can't watch one without watching the other. What can I say about these films that hasn't been said already? We all know why they're so great. We all know why we all love them. Just a fantastic 1-2 punch conclusion to the Infinity Saga. Marvel absolutely stuck the landing with both of these films. I just think they're like the definitive, like perfect examples of superhero films. They have plethoras of heroes, and they're just so much fun. These films like bring together everything the MCU does so well. It has the seriousness, the action, the comedy, and the balance of it all. It has the levity and the fun to it. They have a really good villain in Thanos. They help you understand where he's coming from and why he's doing what he's doing. I'm a big superhero fan, and to me, these are just like the definitive superhero films. If you're asking me which one I like more though, I'm gonna say Endgame is just right above Infinity War. I just love how the first hour is just kind of the aftermath of Endgame and how the heroes are at their lowest point, and then hour 2 is them figuring out a way to bring everyone back and kind of getting hope again, and this, you get the time travel antics and all that, and then the third hour is of course the hour that everyone just like gets in the mood to just pop on or go back and rewatch on YouTube because of just how awesome and cool and satisfying it is. It brings Captain America and Iron Man's arcs to a great conclusion. That final hour is just filled with these great, powerful moments that make you want to pump your fist in the air. You get that sense of triumph and victory, just so much fan service and so much payoff done the right way. Marvel absolutely nailed these two films. Next up at number 8 for me is going to be The Greatest Showman. Such a fantastic musical that has a great cast, phenomenal music, a really good story with some really good messages and themes. I just love this story based on the life of P.T. Barnum, played by Hugh Jackman. I love his story about how he's poor and he comes from nothing, and how he finally strikes success and fame with the circus, and how that kind of gets to him and it's never enough for him, and he just keeps chasing success until it starts to take a toll on his family, and then he hits rock bottom and then comes back and reunites with his family. And he also, in striking success with the circus, brings together a bunch of these weirdos and outcasts and helps them find family. Another reason I love this film is because pretty much my whole family loves this film, especially my cousins. We just love this film and singing along to all the songs. Whenever I am with my cousins, I feel like The Greatest Showman gets mentioned at least once. At least one of the songs is broken out and we're singing along and having a good time. I just have so many great memories with this film, so that's why it's in the top 10 for me. Number 7 is going to be my favorite Walt Disney Animation Studios film of all time, and no, it is not The Lion King, although that is a really good one. It is actually 101 Dalmatians. Once again, this is a film I grew up on. It's very nostalgic for me, and I just love films like this that are so simple, but they're so impactful and effective. It's so simple and more grounded. It doesn't have magic in it like a lot of Disney films do. It's more real, but this film gives me kind of the same effect as like Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, or like in a Mission Impossible movie. And I know that might sound weird, but let me explain. This film, every time I watch it, it's just so much fun. It takes me on this emotional roller coaster. It gets me on the edge of my seat. I love how Pongo and Perdita are like crossing the country to find their 15 stolen kids, and along the way adopt, I think, 86 more. I think the second half of this film is just so much fun when they're trying to escape from Cruella and get back home. And like as we go along, like they're just barely escaping Cruella, and like Cruella's just like literally towards the end watching these soot-covered puppies try and make their way to this truck that's going back to their home in London, and she like figures out what's going on and is like chasing the truck and is like ramming into the back of it, and all the dogs are watching. And I know all the dogs are gonna be okay, I know all the puppies are gonna be fine, but every single time I watch the film, it gets my heart racing. It's so emotional at certain points, like in the beginning when one of their puppies you think is dead, and then you're so happy when you find out the puppy is alive. I also love Pongo and Perdita's relationship. I believe I saw, like, I didn't actually watch the video, but just scrolling on YouTube one day, I saw a thumbnail of a video that was like the top 5 like most healthy, realistic movie marriages, and Pongo and Perdita were in that thumbnail, and I was like, they do have a pretty good, like, solid, like, actually healthy relationship, and I just love seeing their relationship. And I love the songs in this film, the Cruella de Vil song and the Dalmatian plantation at the end, when all the puppies are filling their apartment and Roger's at the piano playing the song. When I was a kid, that was my silly little unrealistic dream, to have a Dalmatian plantation. I wanted 101 Dalmatians growing up. I just can't imagine living life without this film. It just would not feel right if I did not have this in my top 10. Number 6 for me is going to be How to Train Your Dragon 2. That's right, I like the second one better than the first one. I'm a guy who usually loves sequels because with sequels we don't have to worry about doing much world building and being introduced to the world and establishing and getting to know the characters. We can just focus on like better, more character growth and just going on a fun adventure and telling a better story, I think. And that's what this one does. I just loved continuing seeing the developing relationship of Hiccup and Toothless. I think this film is somehow more emotional than the first one, with Hiccup finding his mother, and then when his father finds her and they sing and do that dance. I love seeing Hiccup and Toothless just grow in their relationship, but also grow as individuals. I like how at the end of the film, they both become like the kings of their kind, and Hiccup becomes chief of the village, and Toothless becomes the alpha, or the king of the dragons. This is just a world that I love to spend time in. I love the kind of atmosphere or the scenery in the film, the kind of cold, wintry, icy, like, atmosphere and environment. The villain here, Drago, is a little bit weak. There's not much development with him, but I don't mind that too much. I just love getting to spend more time with these characters. This film was just so emotional the first time I saw it, and for years this was my favorite animated movie of all time, but then came along my number 5 and somehow surpassed it. And my number 5 is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This is probably one of the most surprising movies I've ever seen. This film was in development for like 9, 10, 11 years or something like that. The original Puss in Boots came out in 2011, I believe. And for years, I just kept hearing about how this film was still in development, and for a while there was wondering, are we ever gonna get this film, or is it even gonna be that good when they release it? And then they dropped the first trailer, and I was like, that looks really good. And then I saw it in theaters with a friend of mine, and I was blown away. And coming out of that theater for the first time, I wasn't gonna say that it was my favorite animated movie of all time, but just, I really enjoyed the film, but I wasn't ready to say that. I didn't think it was like a great 10 out of 10 film. But the more I thought about it, the more I watched it, the more I just loved it, and I was like, I think that surpasses How to Train Your Dragon 2 for my favorite animated movie of all time. Puss has such a great arc of being humbled and how he's down to his last life, learning how to live his life responsibly and to not be so selfish and not live his life so recklessly and to cherish the one life he has left. I love bringing back Salma Hayek as Kitty Softpaw. Such a great character. I love her and Puss's relationship. I love Perito, and the rest of the cast and characters they use in this film is just so much fun. I love how it's this quest film and all these characters are after this wishing star. I especially love Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Goldilocks being voiced by the awesome, amazing Florence Pugh. I love her arc and what she learns throughout the film. This is also one of those rare cases where almost every joke in the film lands and works. There's a couple in there that I thought were maybe a bit too dark or too far or not that funny, but this film is just hilarious. And of course you can't forget about the wolf. I won't spoil the kind of twist with his character, but I love what they do with his character and how he's chasing after Puss. I just love his line delivery and his lines and the things that he says. And I love the song at the end, La Vida es Una by Karol G. The animation here is incredible. It looks beautiful. It's colorful. It's just so pretty to watch and look at. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, absolutely amazing film. Now we come to number 4, another absolutely phenomenal film, and that is Knives Out. Just such a great, well-crafted, fun murder mystery. It has a great cast. The standouts are, of course, Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc, who's become one of my most favorite fictional characters. I love his southern drawl and his diction, his desire to find truth and to get justice. I love Ana de Armas as Marta and just how so sweet and innocent and what a good person she is. I think Rian Johnson just did such a phenomenal job with this film, and how, I won't spoil it, but I think he manages to incorporate this little classic good versus evil conflict in the film that's kind of hidden but is kind of revealed towards the end. The dialogue here is so much fun. Almost every line and every scene I look forward to. It's just so much fun to see these characters interacting. I love how you think this family at the beginning is just kind of your normal family. Yeah, they have their normal family squabbles and everything, and they seem a bit weird, but just as you go throughout the film, you realize, oh no, these are all absolutely terrible people. I love Blanc and Marta's relationship and just how they're such good, nice people. I kind of feel like these lights in the darkness, they're kind of surrounded by this family and these characters that are all kind of selfish jerks that we come to find out, and they're playing these games trying to act like they're a nice, normal family, but Blanc and Marta, they're just nice, good people who want to do the right thing. The reveal at the end I thought was absolutely phenomenal. It blew my mind when I first saw it in the theaters. I just love mysteries so much. I think they're so interesting and so much fun because every little thing, every little line, every little scene can matter because could be something in the background that could be important later, or there's just these lines of dialogue that you think are unimportant, but they come back around later and are actually important. I just think mystery films are an interesting look into how humans' minds work sometimes, and just how we think certain things are insignificant, and how mystery films make certain things seem insignificant, but they're actually really important, and just those little details in the film that you don't think about, they're actually really important, and they come back around, and then the reveal at the end when Blanc's explaining everything, it just is absolutely mind-blowing. I'm so glad that Rian Johnson and Daniel Craig want to continue making more of these films. I enjoy the sequel Glass Onion. I can't wait for Wake Up Dead Man. It is my most anticipated film of this year, the third film in the Knives Out series, and I'm so glad it sounds like they want to make more. I am so down for so many more Benoit Blanc mysteries. We've made it to the top 3, and kicking off the top 3 is The Sound of Music. This is just such a pleasant, nice, simple, wholesome, heartfelt family film. We need so many more films like The Sound of Music today. If I had to pick what I think is objectively the greatest movie musical of all time, I'm saying The Sound of Music. I love Julie Andrews as Maria von Trapp, and just the story here, how she is hired to be a governess to these 7 children who've lost their mother. Their father is like this military man who, in losing his first wife, starts kind of running the household and treating his children kind of like in a militarily type way. And I just love how Maria just brings life and love and music back into the household, and she's teaching the children how to sing. I love all 7 of the children. I surprisingly did not grow up on this film, but I saw it on Disney Plus, like maybe, gosh, I don't know, like 6-7 years ago. And it was such a pleasant surprise, and like with Puss in Boots, I didn't love it the first time I saw it, but the first time I saw it, I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't get the songs out of my head. I just had to keep going back and rewatching it, and I'm just like, before I knew it, it was my 3rd favorite movie of all time. I just absolutely love this film so much. It's 3 hours, but I don't care. I usually love long films because, especially when you give us great characters, because I just love spending time with these characters. They actually filmed in Salzburg, Austria. They didn't really have to build any sets or anything for this film, so there's just absolutely beautiful backgrounds to look at throughout the entire film. You could pause the movie on almost any shot, and it's such a beautiful scene to look at. I love Julie Andrews' character's relationship with the children. She came fresh off the success of Mary Poppins. This is kind of a similar role, you know, kind of helping these children reconnect with their father, and I really loved Mary Poppins. And when I finished Mary Poppins, the next thing Disney Plus recommended to me was The Sound of Music, and it sounded like it was the same type of thing, and I was like, I really want to see Julie Andrews in this type of role again. So I watched The Sound of Music, and I'm so glad I finally found this movie. It just is so phenomenal. The songs here are phenomenal. Do, Re, Mi, The Sound of Music, Edelweiss, 16 Going on 17. I could go on. The film is just filled to the brim with great music, and I hope so. It's called The Sound of Music. If you have not seen The Sound of Music, go watch The Sound of Music. We've made it to our runner-up, and my 2nd favorite movie of all time is Disney's Descendants. I grew up on like probably the early 2000s to the year about 2020 era of Disney Channel. So I grew up on a lot of these made-for-TV Disney Channel original movies, and a decent amount of those films are just so important to me. They mean a lot to me. It's what me and my family, my cousins, grew up on, so we just love watching these movies together, just reliving the nostalgia and singing all the songs. But Descendants is just like on another level for me than all the other DComs, because one, I'm just a classic Disney fan. I grew up with a lot of the classic Walt Disney Animation Studios films, and Descendants just feels like such a love letter to those films and such a celebration of Disney, and I think it incorporates elements of classic Disney films but also modern Disney films. I think it takes what both eras of Disney do so well and puts them together. I don't know why, but I always just think it's such a fun concept when you give iconic characters children and just seeing their adventures and how different or alike to their parents they are. I love the story here of how these 4 children, each the child of an iconic Disney villain, is given the chance to live in this good kingdom, and they are taught goodness and they experience love for the first time, and there really are some moments that really are emotional and pack a punch, because these kids, there's hints throughout the film that they've never really been properly loved before, and they've never been taught goodness before, and I just love how they experience love and goodness for the first time, and it changes their hearts. I also love musicals. They're one of my favorite things in the world, and this is a fantastic musical. It has some great songs like Rotten to the Core, Set It Off, If Only. I like the Descendants version of Be Our Guest that we hear in the film. Like I said, it's just such a love letter to those classic Disney films, and I love how they sing some classic Disney songs in the Descendants films. I love the cast here. Our main four villain kids are all played by actors who most of them I grew up seeing on other Disney Channel shows and movies, so it's just kind of comforting in a way to just see these actors that you're familiar with in this new movie. I could go on and on about how much I love Descendants, but we don't have forever, so I'm gonna move on to my number one, and my number one, my favorite movie of all time, I don't care what anyone says, is Descendants 2. Once again, I think just a fantastic story that really is compelling to me and I really relate to with my story. At the end of the first movie, the villain kids become good, and the main character, Mal, the daughter of Maleficent, played by Dove Cameron, in this film, she also enters into a relationship with the king, Ben, the son of Belle and Beast. And because she is the king's girlfriend and she's, you know, on track to becoming queen and all that, she has to learn all this stuff, and she's like this celebrity and she has responsibilities now. And back on the Isle, she's like the daughter of like the most feared and hated villain in the land, and she like kind of ran things around the Isle of the Lost, the prison that all the Disney villains are on. But in Auradon, in the Good Kingdom, she has these responsibilities now. She can't just run wild and do whatever she wants. I just love how in the second film they take bad people turning good to, I think it's natural progression and just this temptation coming in, kind of missing the old evil ways and how they were easier, and just I relate to Mal so much, and just how she wants to go back to the Isle and to her old life because it was so much easier and she could kind of do whatever she wanted, and also how she just doesn't think the kingdom will really accept her, and just how because of how imperfect she is and because she is the daughter of a villain. And I love how once Mal goes back to the island, her friends go to get her, including Ben, and they get into a situation with some pirates led by Uma, the daughter of Ursula, played by China Anne McClain, another fantastic Disney Channel actress that I grew up on. I love seeing her in this role, and she's a fellow Christian, so I just love seeing her show up in things. I think the Isle is such a fun environment to explore. You get a nice sword fight in the film, and once again, the film is just a fantastic musical filled with great songs, Ways to Be Wicked, What's My Name, Chillin' Like a Villain, Space Between, It's Going Down, and You and Me. I love all 6 of those songs so stinking much. I love the end when they're all on the boat and it's filled with water and they all are just splashing around and dancing. Guys, I've never wanted to jump into my TV screen more and start singing and dancing with these characters. I've never wanted to be part of a movie more. Like with the first movie, I could go on and on about how much I love this franchise, but we don't have that kind of time, and I think I've already talked long enough. But so there you have it, my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Hope y'all enjoyed seeing my list and hearing me talk about these films and why I love them so much. So leave your top 10 favorite movies down below, or your top 15, top 20, top 5, however many you want, and also leave a little explanation, tell me why you love your favorite films so much. But thank y'all so much for watching this video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe right over here. And if you want some of my more detailed thoughts on some of my favorite movies, I have done a couple movie nights for like The Greatest Showman, which you can watch right over here, and for Knives Out as well. You can watch that video right here and get more of my in-depth thoughts on those 2 of my favorite films of all time. Also be on the lookout, I do intend to make a top 10 favorite TV shows of all time video in the next couple weeks or so be on the lookout for that video. And with that, y'all have a blessed one. I'll see y'all next time, guys.